Happy Friday, y'all. Tiffanie Kellog here with another episode of our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child-Free. And today I'm super excited to be joined from Florida, just a little bit further south in Miami. Welcome, Tess. We are excited to have you here with us today.
I'm excited to be here too, Tiffany.
So tell me what the name of your company is.
It's Glow with Tess. So it's basically the idea about having all the energy and having everything that you need so you glow from inside out.
Love it. Now, there's probably plenty of entrepreneurs out there that no, having enough energy, that ain't happening. I'm an entrepreneur and I have my life. And at least as child-free women, we don't have to say, and I have the kids and family to take care of. However, I know plenty of women entrepreneurs living child-free that aren't full of energy. So give us just kind of a teeny taste of what we're going to talk about today when it comes to having that energy available to us.
Well, it's important to take care of your health so that, you have the health practices in place. And what I'm really passionate about is actually empowering women to make sure that self-care is part of their business plan, so that it is really the ultimate business advantage that you have.
Wait. Did I just hear you say self-care as part of our business plan?
Yes.
I don't know that I've seen that in a lot of business plans.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that you can stay motivated, focused, and resilient. This way, so you don't get burnt out. And let's face it, burnt out is not part of the business plan.
All right. So yeah. You're really right on that, because burnt out is not part of the business plan, nor is self-care. And because self-care is not part of the business plan, then we end up burnt out quite frequently.
Yes, that's right. And that's why you have to put time to it and make sure that it's part of your daily routine.
Love that. So you mentioned daily routine. What are some things that you recommend? I was trying to decide, do I really need a routine? Or do I ask, what are some things that should be considered as part of the routine?
When it comes
either question or both.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to health practices, I think what a lot of people find is that they know they have certain things they have to do, and they feel overwhelmed because it's all in the head, it's all floating around. So the important thing is to have a structure. So you know that there are certain things you have to do every day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. I will always suggest stay hydrated. So you do that from the first thing in the morning when you get up, have a glass of water or two before you actually go for your coffee. I know we love our coffee in the morning, but water comes first.
What do you say to people that are like, no, I can't even function before I have my coffee? That is number one thing that I'm going to do. How could they get a little bit of water in before the coffee goes?
Have a glass there ready next to your coffee maker. And go for the coffee and go for the water first. Maybe have half a glass to start with, and then slowly build on that.
Gotcha. Because coffee usually does take a few minutes to brew.
Yeah.
So you could chug a little bit of water to get things going.
Right, exactly. And over time, you would become natural and you wake up, and if you don't have coffee, you think, if you don't have water, I keep saying coffee, you feel thirsty. You think, no, where's my water first before, so I have to get hydrated after, sleeping for 7-8 hours.
Yeah, I've got my big drink that I keep. Yeah. This goes with me from the nightstand to the desk to the TV, to the end table by the couch. It's usually in one of those three spots. I like my drink cold, so I have ice in it. But I always have it nearby, so it makes it easy. And that's probably a good point for y'all watching. If you're not hydrating, is it easy for you to just grab the water and drink?
Yeah, exactly. Don't wait till you're thirsty, because by the time you're actually thirsty, your body is pretty dehydrated. What I do, I try to get most of my water intake early in the day, so I don't leave it till late in the evening, because I don't want to get woken up for bathroom stops. And so you find that, then you go to sleep, it's a long time. By the time you get up, your body is craving for some liquid. And throughout the day, stay hydrated. Maybe perhaps, these days set a timer on your phone just to remind yourself at the beginning before you develop this useful habit.
I love it. I have an app on my phone that I use that helps me track water, and it like gives me cheers. Yay, you drank some water. And I've also had, my family does a Snapchat group that will like message, okay, I drank this water. I'm just starting on that. And so we're using each other to kind of remind us that we should be drinking that water.
Yeah, accountability partners are really helpful.
Yeah.
For some of my clients who don't have that, they want me to actually send them reminders. That's what I do. And they like it, because they say sometimes the day gets just so busy and suddenly they get a message on the phone with a cartoon sometimes, of hydration. They say, oh yes, I forgot about that. I better go and grab some water now.
All right. So if y'all are needing accountability, Tess can help y'all with that. And we're going to talk more about what she can help us with. But I've got a few more questions before we get into all of that. So Tess, you shared about the water. Will you share one other component? I know we could talk for hours about routines and what to be included, but can you give us one other one that you feel is like very important to have on our list?
Yes. I would say movement is very important, exercise. And again, the schedule can get very busy and you will feel that, after halfway through the week, you say, I just don't have time to get to the gym or even just to go out for a walk. Schedule those in just like you do with your business meetings. You do that at the beginning of the week and say, look, where would I have some windows so I can actually do a proper workout or go for a 20-minute walk. And even throughout the days, it's good to have those short breaks, go get up, do some stretches. Those things really all add up.
I was reading the Ikigai 2 or 3 years ago, and it said when you're sitting, after 25 or 30 minutes, your metabolism goes down by like 80 or 90%.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I need to stand up more frequently.
That's another reason to stay hydrated, because then you have to get to the restroom.
Yeah, I laugh because people are like, your Apple Watch will just tell you when you need to stand if you haven't stood for an hour. And I'm like, I drink way more water than that, y'all. That is not usually an issue for me.
Right, exactly. But I also say to people that not only move, it's important to get up and move, and it's good for your body and your back and what have you, but for your eyes as well, to get away from the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm big on puppy dance parties. So I have 2 puppies, Guinness and Harper. I mean, they're dogs now, but I'll like play some funky music and like just dance for 2 or 3 minutes. They look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, let's have fun. Yeah, we spend way too much time at our computers.
Exactly. We get too focused, and and also research shows that if you have these short breaks, you actually become more, you're actually more focused, and then you can recharge and you can go back to your work and do your job much better than and do it for an hour at a time.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I recommend, and y'all, I'll put into the chat, I just have released my 4.5 easy ways to have more time. And one of them is the 25-minute hack. So I set a timer, you work for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. My mental health, my standing, all of that appreciates it.
Yes, yes.
So
and
I'll
you
drop that in
performance. So yeah.
Love it. Okay. So I do know, if y'all were reading her description in advance, waiting and anticipating. So as a child, Tess had a serious aversion to vegetables. Her mother had to get creative to get her to take a bite. Today, she inspires entrepreneurs to nourish their bodies with joy and ease. It's proof that even the pickiest eaters can grow into passionate wellness advocates. So I'm curious, how do you go from not liking veggies? Because that was totally me growing up. Like I would eat canned green beans. That was all I would eat, period.
Yeah.
So talk to us about this whole veggies thing. Because I know that one of the things about being healthier is way more veggies. And a lot of people don't like them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as a child, I just didn't like all these green things. I really wanted meat, and I really, whenever my mother would put vegetables on my plate, I just cringe. But then, over the years, and as I got older, I understood, I started to understand the importance of having enough fiber, in your diet. I started having more, and I would just add more to my plate every time, and maybe make them more interesting, have some dressing with some, when I cook them, have some herbs and spices. And I think a lot of it also to do with texture, because I really like crunchy stuff. So I make sure that I don't overcook my vegetables, and so they stay crunchy. Sometimes I would just part cook them and have them with hummus or something like that, or add them. Actually, I even have them for breakfast these days. It sounds crazy, but I actually had some earlier today. And
So tell
yeah.
me about your vegetable breakfast, please.
Yeah, if you saw a picture of it, you think this is crazy. It's something that I will have for lunch or dinner, not breakfast. I will have something like an egg. I do like eggs, so I have an egg, avocado, some cauliflowers or broccoli. I actually made some hummus the other day. So yes, I make my own hummus, so I'll make sure what's in there. And I like the taste of it. So I had some hummus as well with it, and some spicy things like cayenne pepper and celery sticks. And that's my breakfast.
It's funny, that sounds a lot like my lunch yesterday. I take hard-boiled eggs and avocado and mix them together with everything bagel seasoning.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's kind of like an easy, healthy egg salad and some red peppers and hummus.
Yeah. I started, following these experts on the importance of protein intake a while back. And they were suggesting that you have to make sure you get enough protein for every meal. That includes your breakfast. So a lot of people choose to have cereals, but then, where's your protein? Where does that come into? So I thought, okay, well, kind of crazy to have chicken for breakfast. But there's no such thing saying you cannot have chicken for breakfast. So over time, I started, changing my meals. So now I have salmon, sardines, chicken, whatever I can think of, plus my vegetables.
I love it. I mean, y'all, if we can have breakfast for dinner, why can't we have dinner for breakfast? In
Yeah,
my
that's
household, yeah, I'll have a salad, or
true.
especially if I like leftover filet. I'm like, I'm totally having filet for breakfast. My husband is very much breakfast, only at breakfast, and
Yeah.
nothing that's not breakfast.
Yeah, but it's amazing what it actually does to the mind when you actually tell yourself, so what? I can have whatever I want. Yeah.
Love it, love it. And I know we're talking about, eating and being healthier.
Hmm.
One thing that's interesting, so let's go to the child-free space a little bit, because we're both women entrepreneurs living child-free. And one of the perks that many women entrepreneurs that are living child-free talk about is traveling
Oh,
and
yeah.
the freedom and the flexibility. Now, I know you mentioned that you're traveling next week. Do you travel often?
I do quite a bit, and I go abroad as well. But it's important when you're traveling to make sure that you keep those health practices,
Okay.
in place. Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Mm. Yeah.
For several reasons. I am very much a routine person. And
Yeah.
so I've got a great routine of getting up around 5, and then 5 of the 7 days out of the week I can go to my Crunch yoga studio right around the corner. Now, I get up at 5 Monday through Friday. I get up at 7 Saturday and Sunday, though I usually wake up before that. But like 5 days a week they have the early classes that I can do. So yay. When I'm on the road, very rarely am I able to like find a hot yoga studio with classes at 6 a.m. in the hotel. So I struggle with the routine of it. And I
Yeah.
struggle with the food too.
Yes, and also that distractions. It's exciting to be somewhere different. Restaurants are different. You experience a different culture. But that's where all my 3Ds come into it. I always say that you have to have the desire when it comes to getting healthy. You have to have determination and the discipline. And that's where the discipline comes into it when you're traveling. You have to stay mindful, do some preparation work before you go so that you know what's going to be available. For example, there might be a local gym you can go to. I always check them out. In fact, I've gone to so many different places, in terms of local gyms, that I've actually got a list of them on my website. So that when someone is going to Paris or London or some other places, they can just find those places out. You can get the local gym passes, or if there are no gyms, then maybe some parks that you can go to.
Oh, that's a good idea. Because I'm actually traveling. Hold on now. I'll have to write this down. Parks. Because I'm traveling to St. Pete, Florida with my husband next week. And for those of you that are in Tampa, like traveling to St. Pete, isn't it like 45 minutes or an hour? Yeah, without traffic. He's going to be there for a conference. So I'm going to enjoy an amazing pool that I love. But I had not thought about parks because I was asking him. He's taking the car for the conference. And so I'm like, I'm without a car because I'm like, there is a gym branch about 10 minutes for me, but that's a 10-minute drive. If it was a 10-minute walk, I could do. A 10-minute drive, I am not walking or Ubering for that. I'll find something else, but I love the idea of the parks. But I get distracted. What's your website? Because you said you had a list on your website. So if y'all want to check out our website, what is your website?
It's glowwithtess.com with the one W. So it's spelled GLOWITHTESS.
Love it. Love it. And I'll put that in the comments in just a minute, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit more, because I know you've got an amazing guide for us. And so I know you have a bunch of tips. And so I'm not necessarily saying give us what's in here, but as child-free women, we do have a tendency to travel more than your average gal. And so what else should we consider, or what would make our traveling easier?
Pre-trip preparation, as I said, check out what's going to be available, but also maybe bring some healthy snacks with you. And what about your flights? Are they going to be long haul flights? Then make sure that you stay hydrated. Are you going to eat before you get to the airport? Because very often the meals they serve on the flight are not really that healthy. And then when you get to the destination, what's going to be available? Maybe some healthy restaurants, but always just stay mindful. Rather than saying, "Oh, I'm on vacation," I will just deal with it when I get home. No, but health thrives on daily actions. So it doesn't matter whether you're here, home, or abroad.
All right. So can I ask, what are some of your favorite healthy snacks? Not only for the people watching, but mainly for me, because I'm curious what you have on the list that maybe I don't yet.
I would say nut butter is one of them. Yeah, but almond butter or walnut butter, those would be my go-to. But I always go for the option that has no added sugar. Very important. That's why it's important to read the food labels.
You could probably give us a whole class for a day on reading food labels, huh?
Yeah, easily. That's what I actually do with some clients. When they're actually in town, we actually go to supermarket tours and then we look at all the packaging.
All right, so do me a favor. Tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients, what that looks like, what you help them do. I'm sure, I know that's a big conversation for 2 minutes to talk about it. So kind of give us that 30,000-foot overview.
Yeah. So I help busy people, to manage their schedules and make sure that they have their health practices in place. And what I do is mainly one-on-one and sometimes on Zoom if they're not actually in town. But if they're in town, we meet in person. But, we all are very different. So our schedule's very different. Our preferences are very different. So it's actually, it definitely has to be customized. It has to fit in with your schedule. Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable. That's why these diet plans that people can, Google on the internet, they don't work in the long run because they cannot apply to everyone. We have different cultural backgrounds, and these things have to actually be taken, in place, and so a program has to be actually set up to suit you and to suit your schedule and your goals.
I love that. I remember the first health coach that I worked with, I don't know, 2010, 2012, and I really adored her. She was amazing, and it was too much.
Yeah.
Like I was hardly eating any vegetables. I didn't drink tea at all. It was so much. And it's like, okay, change this and change this and change this and change that and change. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what?
Yeah. No, it's too overwhelming. You have to
Yeah.
start with, one thing at a time and build on it. Otherwise, this brain just goes crazy and say, I can't do all of these things.
Yeah. Such a great thing that you're able to customize and where are we at and what do we want to do? Because everybody's different.
Yeah, we're all different, and the way we feel about things are very different. Some people just naturally like fruits and vegetables, so they don't have to work on that. They have to work on something else.
Mm, gotcha. It's interesting. Somebody mentioned to me the other day, I have not researched this. I don't know if this is true. You may have heard this before or not, that our taste buds change as we get older. And so just because we didn't like something when we were
Mm,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't mean we won't like it as an adult.
exactly. It's all the mindset. And you can retrain your taste buds as well. So just because you feel you have a sweet tooth and you have to have sugar every day, no, you don't have to. The mind is very powerful. You can actually train yourself to like something, and it just takes time and determination.
Yeah, and as you're mentioning that, I'm kind of like, well, I remember back in the day, like in college, I would drink plenty of Coke, not Diet
Yeah.
Coke, not Coke Zero. There wasn't out then. I would drink Coke several a day, maybe. I was a kid, whatever. It's not
Mm.
good. I get that. Nowadays, I get a Coke and I'm like, whoa, it is so
Yeah,
sweet. Like I can drink like
exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll take a sip. I don't need
that's
Coke.
right. Yeah,
It's so sweet.
yes, exactly. Yeah, definitely. If you actually, cut down on your sugar intake, which is a good thing to do, because sugar is not good for any of us at all. And so if you limit it, bit by bit, over time you would feel that, oh, yeah, something is just too sweet. I don't like this. And it's the same with salt as well.
Mm. I know we did our first like 21-day no sugar last March.
Mm.
And I didn't know that's what we were doing. My husband's like, you want to do this 21-day meal plan? I looked at it. I'm like, it looks good. Sure. And then like day 3, it's like, oh, there's no sugar. And I didn't know what we were doing, but it was so much easier. Like once I got past those first few days of the sugars craving,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. And we're doing sugar free completely this week. And
Mm.
I was fine after day 1. Like I'm not craving it the way I was 2 years ago. And so it's like the
Yeah.
less we have it, the less we crave it and the easier it gets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because sugar is really addictive. That's why they put it in everything that we
And
come
they put a
across in
lot of it in
supermarket.
everything.
They do. It's astounding.
Like, why do we need sugar and ketchup and marinara sauce?
Or tomato sauce, anything, because it's addictive. So it makes us buy it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least nowadays, there are so many more options that we
Yeah.
can get of sugar-free or whatever free.
Yeah. And food has its own taste. Even I know some people might say, no, broccoli doesn't taste like anything, but it does. Everything has its own taste. So try and appreciate it.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about this travel guide. I know we've mentioned it. We've thrown the URL up here, y'all. I'm going to put this in the chat in just a moment as well. It should also be in the description wherever you're watching it. So tell us
Yeah.
about the gift you have for us today, the guide.
Yeah, because so the travel guides enable you to do certain preparation and stay healthy when you're on the road, whether it's for business or for vacation. So it comes with pre-trip preparation, in-flight strategies, and destination-ready advice. Sign up, and then you can download it and print it out. It's just one page, and you can keep it with you. It comes in really handy.
Love it. I will be printing that out and then laminating it because that's just the kind of person that I am. I like my laminated stuff because it makes a difference. And when we do a little bit of that prep,
Mm.
yeah, because sometimes it'll be like by the time everybody's ready for a snack, I'm like, I was hungry an hour ago and y'all are eating crap. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would much rather have something that is good for me and save. Like I don't mind splurging on the good health, on the good food.
Yes.
I don't want
Yes.
to eat like the stale crackers on the
Yeah.
plane when I could have like a fresh beer at the brewery. Like I save my carbs, y'all, usually for either really good beer or really good bread. Like, but I don't want the basic stuff. If I'm going to do it, I want the good stuff.
Yes. I always say, try to avoid situations where you end up eating something just because you're hungry and you have no other choices.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are never good decisions when it comes to the food. So,
No.
yes, we're beginning to wrap up, y'all. And I want to mention to you about we do have our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free event. This is happening August 1st. Is our official kickoff. And so, Tess, I'm curious, what excites you about the opportunity to network with other child-free women entrepreneurs?
It's really exciting. I never thought this would be an opportunity because it's so difficult to actually find people, women, who are actually in the same situation. But it's really, exciting. So I can, so there's this group of women that, we can collaborate. We can share our ideas, and we know where we're coming from. We are true, living true to ourselves, and having this passion of focusing on what we do, and we have more time to spend on helping other people as well.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And we're so glad to have you as part of this community with us. So, where can we find you online?
You can find me on my website, Glow with Tess. Again, it's glowithtess.com. You can also find me on social media, and the handle is the same, Glow with Tess, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and X as well. But feel free to go on my website and sign up for my monthly newsletters so you can have there's some health and wellness tips every month.
Love it. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are talking about being healthier as like it's just saying you're being healthy. But to me, being healthier means I have that energy. So we're back to where we started. Look at that
Yeah.
full circle back to that being full of energy. And sometimes people look at me because y'all, I don't drink coffee.
Mm.
No coffee. I don't. I do
Yeah.
have a little bit of tea, caffeine in the tea that I like, but I
Yeah.
don't need. It's just the flavor that I prefer.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. This is just natural. My
Yeah.
6 a.m. yoga and Pilates
Yes.
energizes me in a way that sleeping an extra hour certainly does not.
Yeah, exactly. You have to find out you have to find what works for you. And
Mm.
having the energy is so important rather than using something like coffee to keep you up. And, look at your sleep habits, those little things, and start asking yourself, what can I do? There's something you can do, or you don't have to, work on your own, get some help if you need to. Sometimes working on your own, is hard. When you work with someone, you can bounce ideas off. It's much easier.
Love it, love it. Tess, I want to say thank you so very much for being here today, y'all. It has been amazing. This is your last chance, Tess. What is
Yeah.
it that we need to know before we go?
Don't get overwhelmed when it
Mm.
comes to, building healthy habits. Do one thing at a time. All small steps lead to long-term success. So try one thing out, see if it works for you, and be patient. Be patient to yourself. That's very important.
Tess, thank you so much. Y'all, next week we are going to be joined by Kirsten Carey. Super excited to have this conversation. As always, it has been fabulous spending Friday mornings with